podcast is brought to you by Mix 93.8 and the National Small Business Chamber, turning small business into big business.
Joining us on the line, Mr. Mike Anderson from NSBC Africa. Mike, how are you today?
All good, Damian, and it was always great to be back. Thank you.
It's great to have you back. I'm really excited about today's topic because this is something I've battled with quite a bit, especially when it comes to doing voiceovers, getting customers to pay on time. One of the biggest challenges facing business owners, you know, when you start hearing, we pay invoices in 30 days, 90 days, 120 days, or, you know, you're chasing those invoices, it can always be a big problem.
Yeah, Damian, especially today, you know, rising fuel costs, interest rates, economic pressures, you know, at any time, not paying an invoice on time to an SME is unacceptable. And, you know, getting customers to pay on time is one of the biggest challenges for business owners. And when the problem persists too long, as you will know, it can ultimately shut down the business. So for any business, the amount of money flowing in or out is critical to its success. And when money is tight, paying basic bills can get challenging, but when cash is plentiful, a business can invest in its future by expanding, buying new equipment, hiring key staff, or retaining key staff by rewarding them better.
Now we find ourselves in a really tough economic spot, and I think with these people not paying, it can be quite a big stress on a business in terms of cash flow and even that knock-on effect. So if you are owed money and you owe someone money, that whole kind of chain is broken. So we see many businesses closing every day.
Yeah, Damien, of course, we see more now than ever before, and in many cases it's due to cash flow result of late or non-payment. And prompt payment is vital to the cash flow of every business, and especially smaller businesses. And of course, an important initiative powered by the NSBC is the Prompt Payment Code. And this is all about encouraging and promoting best practice between government, larger organizations, and their suppliers. Signatories of the code commit to paying SMEs on time. I mean, Damien, we've got invoices for SMEs outstanding for 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
On a job well done. So it really is a big problem out there.
Yeah, I suppose it's incredibly frustrating to, like you say, it's a job well done, you were on time, you produced exactly what was asked for, maybe even went above and beyond, and now you're sitting 2-3 years down the line waiting for this payment.
Absolutely. And, you know, there's obviously a couple of key simple methods one can adopt to keeping the cash flowing in. And, some of them apply to more than others, but they're really great tips. And let me start by saying, first of all, where SMEs often don't do, invoice immediately. Invoicing must be an immediate action. The quicker you execute, the quicker you'll get paid. And also, if you delay the invoice, it indicates that you're not in too much of a hurry to get paid. So business owners are often slow at getting the invoices out once they have completed their work for a customer. And remember that your client has no obligation to pay until they receive an invoice. Second key bits of advice here. Make payment terms crystal clear. You need to communicate the deadline on your quotes and invoices clearly, as well as your telephone and email follow-ups. Next important point, this is really important, make a personal connection with the money team. The key success factor in growing top line is to build a sound relationship with the decision maker. What we forget to do is to also build a sound relationship with the person in the business that pays the accounts. Get personal with the money team and get them to pay you first. Then, of course, use the telephone to chase money. Many experts in the field agree that making phone calls can be up to 80% more effective than emails and letters. Prioritize your cash collection and chase the oldest and the largest debts first. Next important bit of advice, offer a range of payment options. Offer a range of payment options to your customers and put your payment methods on all proposals, invoices, and statements. For example, you might accept credit cards, debit cards, cash and EFTs. Different methods will suit different customers, so offer as many options as possible. Then this is very important. Disarm the excuses. Getting excuses for a late payment is common. The 3 most common ones, Damien, are: I never received the invoice, the invoice details are incorrect, I disagree with the invoice. To avoid this, call them 5 days after you send out the invoice to find out that they have in fact received the invoice. Then the final bit of advice, more invoice, and sometimes it's not easy for many, but a few of our SMEs have used it very effectively. More invoices for smaller amounts. This is not always possible, as I said, but if it is possible, you want to avoid hitting your client with one giant invoice.
Yeah.
A client is more likely to sit on an invoice that is overwhelmingly large. Just try and make it easier for the client to pay you.
Yeah, so essentially don't let that get too backed up. I like what you mentioned earlier about introducing the prompt payment code. Is there anywhere that we could access that and have a bit of a deeper look into what it entails?
Yes, Damian, you can go onto our homepage, www.nsbc.africa. The top tab there, you'll see initiatives, and the prompt payment code falls under the initiatives. And I'll tell you something, it's made a massive difference. Many big companies have changed their procurement policies from 120 days, 180 days, down to within 15 days of paying. And we've spent many years, and we will continue to do that, to make sure every single large company and government department complies with the prompt payment code. So it's the most meaningful thing a big company or a government department can do, is to pay your SME suppliers on time.
100%. I mean, the difference between a week or a month, it could make all the difference for a business being able to carry on with their business operations or not at all. So I think this information that you've shared with us is vitally important. Thank you for the work that you do. And as always, we'll catch up with you next week.
Thank you, Damon. Have a good week.
You too.
Take care.
Mike Anderson, CEO and founder of NSBC Africa, spreading a bit of news on how you can kind of get those guys to pay on time, or at least pay a bit sooner. Like you mentioned, the prompt payment code is available on their website, nsbc.africa. So if it's something that tickled your fancy, go have a look.
The Midday Mix on Mix 93.8.